it's Marley from the Energy Boutique with your energy forecast for Monday, July 3rd. So welcome to our full moon day. Of course, we have the full moon popping off in Capricorn energy. If you haven't downloaded your moon guide, I'm going to recommend you do so. If you haven't listened to the astro forecast that I put out for this moon event, I'm going to recommend that you do that as well. If you haven't listened to your zodiac forecast for the month of July in order to understand where these energies are taking place in your life, I'm going to recommend that you go ahead, you do that as well. There's plenty of content out there for you to understand how to align with these energies, what this is meaning for us. It is providing us with a very, very intense pivot point for our intentions, our goals, our direction, our path. But we definitely have a little bit of purging, releasing to do before that clarity is going to come in. And for many of us, those heavier emotions will be triggered, will be activated with this full moon in Capricorn. So there are 12 different aspects here today. 11 of them are going to involve the moon. The moon is going to be making an interaction with Uranus. And of course, you can find all of these details in the moon guide and really kind of understand what these energies are, what they present in your own individual life and in your chart. But the moon interacting with Uranus is definitely pushing us to make a spontaneous change. All of the attachments, all of the energy, all of the efforts that we've been pouring into trying to keep things stabilized, to keep things the same, to continue to push through the obstacles and the challenges. We are reaching a point where we are releasing all that. We are throwing it up in the air. We're kind of clearing out the energy and efforts that we've been holding on to, and therefore pivoting to make a major change, especially in our physical realms, because these are earth energies that these planets are in, which has a major impact on our physical realms, on our environment, on our circumstances. Mercury, ruler of the mental plane, ruler of information and communication, who is in this Cancer energy, really helping us to kind of blend our intellect with our intuition, focus on our basic needs, realize what needs to be built in our lives in order to provide us with that safety, security, and stability. It's going to be making a positive interaction with the North Node in Taurus energy. The North Node is our soul path, our destiny point, and this is a realization, an epiphany, an aha moment on what it is that we have to do, what we have to let go of, what we have to distance ourselves away from, what we have to kind of realize isn't working in order for us to again pivot into new ideas, into a new path, into a new direction. The moon will then sextile beautiful energy with Saturn, the ruler over the Capricorn moon. Saturn, of course, the lord of karma, ruling over roles, responsibilities, structures, foundations, who is currently retrograde in this Pisces energy. The Pisces energy being a water sign, and especially the last water sign and the last sign of the zodiac, is providing us with endings, with closures, especially where old goals and dreams and roles and responsibilities are concerned. Now, this is a sextile. This means that we're bossing up. We're taking a logical, practical, realistic approach on what it is that is sucking the life out of us, what we have to kind of cut the cord with in order for us to build something better in its place. The moon will then interact with Venus. Venus, of course, the goddess of love, beauty, worth, pleasure, money, in the heart and soul of the zodiac, in Leo energy, trying to get us heart aligned, trying to activate that heart chakra in order to release the walls, the guards that we built up around our heart space initially in order to protect ourselves. Now realizing that it's creating more of a prison than anything else. And because of that, we are in a destruction mode here in this full moon in Capricorn, which means that we got to break down those walls, those guards, in order to get real and raw and vulnerable with ourselves, especially where love and relationships are concerned. This is going to bring a weight to us because, of course, this is what this full moon is all about. We have to feel the weight, the pressure, the tension in order for us to feel like we can't take it anymore, in order for us to release those emotions that are just frustrated and agitated all to hell. And in doing so, we're going to clear that energy out of our physical bodies, really lighten up that heart space, and get in alignment with what it is that our heart is asking us to pursue from here. The moon in Capricorn is going to trine beautiful energy with Jupiter. Jupiter, of course, the planet of growth, expansion, beliefs, abundance, and blessings. In Taurus energy for the next year-ish, really showing us where we have the opportunity to create something new, especially in our physical realms. We're building ourselves up in our confidence and our self-esteem. We're watching that flow over into our relationship dynamics, creating stronger boundaries in order for us to operate without being kind of dragged down by the people around us. We have an opportunity to tap into new skills, new talents, create a new opportunity to use those abilities to the best of our ability, I guess, in order to create an income, in order to stabilize our income, really focusing in on love and relationships. Again, that Taurus energy has us very rooted in the here and now, realizing what isn't working in order for us to create a better alternative in its place. The moon will then interact with Mars. Mars, of course, is the god of war, ruling over our physical energy, our passion, our drive, our desires, even our anger, who is also in the heart and soul of the zodiac in Leo energy. This is definitely going to create the agitation, the frustration, maybe even fits of rage. Now, we want to just allow whatever needs to come up to come up. We got to get it out of our bodies. We got to get it off of our heart space. We got to get it off of our tongue. If you got something to say it. Get it out there. Clean that space. Now, Mars being, a fire energy, he's very frustrated anyways. He hasn't been able to kind of make the kind of moves that he wanted to make. We'll see a lot of productivity and progress being made up for when Mars moves into Virgo energy. Listen to July's energy forecast in order to understand all the different transits that we can expect over the month of July. But right now, we're angry, we're frustrated, we're disappointed in ourselves, in the circumstances that we're currently in the people around us, in our inability, if you will, to reach the kind of goals that we were hoping to reach at this particular point in the calendar. And this is the breaking point that we all need in order to get that emotional energy out of us, in order to pivot and really start kind of initiating a brand new path. 7:39 a.m. we have the moon opposing the sun. This is what gives us our full moon energy. And so moving into 740 is when we will have that peak energy really kind of blaze down upon us. So again, I'm going to recommend you listen to the astro forecast that I put out for this event so that you can understand the balance needed between the Capricorn energy and the Cancer energy. This is very much about safety, security, stability. This is very much about our private lives versus our public lives. This is very much about our emotional realm versus our reputation. This is very much about the roles and responsibilities that we have to our home, to our family dynamic, and we have to our career, and those commitments and obligations that we've made in order to reach new goals and achievements. But there's a lot to unpack there, especially where the inner child wound is coming up, where the polarization between the mother and father energies are coming up, really exposing within ourselves where it is that we are repeating past patterns and behaviors that we were subject to as children, and therefore we have the ability to nip it in the bud, rewrite the script, break the link in the chain that the generational trauma is used to kind of flowing down in, and again, giving us a huge opportunity to pivot. The moon also opposes Mercury. You'll learn that in the moon guide. You'll learn that in the astro forecast as well. We just had the Sun and Mercury chasm on the very first day of July. They're still very much within orb of each other, opening up our mind to our basic needs, to what it is that we have to do in order to stabilize our emotional realm and our physical realm, what we have to build in our lives in order to kind of stabilize all of the things that are out of whack, that are a little bit crazy, a little bit chaotic. The moon then interacts with Neptune. Neptune, of course, is now retrograde in its place of power in Pisces energy. This is definitely going to be a logical, practical approach to some of the dreams, visions, goals that we're now being downloaded with. We're recognizing what it is that we have to let go of. We're recognizing where we have to get our head out of the clouds. We're recognizing where it is that we have to become a little bit more accountable and responsible for dealing with the harsh reality, the harsh truth, the details, the situations, the circumstances that are ugly, that we'd rather avoid, that we'd rather run away from. We have to clean that up first. So although this is a positive interaction, it is going to inspire us and motivate us to boss up, to do what we got to do in order to clean the slate so that we can get on with it and really close the door on some of these karmic chapters that will eventually come up when we're in a futuristic situation where we think that we've, put all this stuff behind us, if we don't process it now, it will come up later and really mess things up for us. So I'd highly, highly recommend that you kind of put your big girl panties on, that you kind of deal with life, that you dig deep, that you recognize what it is that you'd rather not want to deal with, you'd rather not confront, you'd rather avoid, and lean all the way into it. The moon is then going to interact with Venus. It is a very beneficial aspect that we're having between the moon and Venus at this time, and there is a full illumination, if you will, full moon energy, on what it is that we really need to reorganize and rearrange in our lives, especially where relationships and money matters are concerned. There is a certain realistic truth emerging right now that we cannot continue to pour in to people, to places, to things, to jobs, to projects that are sucking the life out of us. And when we acknowledge that and we understand that we have to create distance from those things, it opens us up to formulate a new plan that is more heart aligned, honoring our higher selves, really kind of getting in alignment with our soul's mission, our soul's purpose. Now, the moon is then going to get into the boxing ring and square off with Chiron, the wounded healer. So this is when the funk is definitely going to be amplified. This is when our wounds, our fears, our insecurities are coming out to play. This is where the trigger, the activation of those not so nice thoughts and feelings want to rise to the surface for acknowledgement. And a lot of this particular issue is stemming around the version of ourselves that we currently are, and recognizing that we're not really doing our best. We're not really pushing ourselves to our fullest potential. We're just skimming by. And a lot of that is just due to the creation chapter that we just entered into, the lack of energy, the lack of F's floating around in the cosmos right now. But it's going to amplify where it is that we know that we have to do better. And that never feels good. It's a reality check that makes us feel low and slow and really hard on ourselves, but is needed in order for us to get a grip and kind of build ourselves up to the point of strength and discipline that we all have to be at in order to muster up the courage and the bravery to actually make a change, make a transformation, and push ourselves forward. The moon is going to make a positive interaction with Mars. This is the last aspect for the day. Mars being the god of war, ruling over our physical energy, our drive, our passions, our anger earlier in the day, ignited our frustrations, really brought a lot of anger, a lot of tension, a lot of conflict to play. This is a positive interaction, which means that after we sit in the funk, after we kind of whine and cry and sit in the victimhood mentality of it all, we are going to boss up. And we tap into a new warrior type of spirit. We are rising to the challenge of the obstacles that are going to be in our path as we kind of break away from the old and we transition into the new. And that can be very scary, very confusing, especially when we don't have the details set out, the plan, the strategy to move forward. We don't have the clarity at all. But may I just remind you that all we have to do is signal to ourselves and to the universe that what it is that we're currently not happy with, that we're willing to walk away from. And as we walk away from those particular elements, the path forward will unfold in due time.